After Song King Yi became blind, I took care of him for 3 years with all my heart. The first thing he did after he regained his sight was to propose to his fiancée, whom he had humiliated. I thought he had simply recognized the wrong person until I heard him and his brother chatting in the box. I.e., in fact, the one who has taken care of you all these years has always been the little nanny beside you. I know what you. Song King Yi's tone was a little careless. Have you heard of a saying? The first thing a blind man does after regaining his sight is to throw away his crutches. He witnessed all my degradation and unbearable mess, so he can only be the crutches I throw away. I stood silently at the door without going in. I turned around and neatly submitted my resignation application. I took the train to the south with my savings over the years. The main text begins. Are you sure you want to resign? Song's mother pondered as she looked at the resignation application on the table. Obviously, he didn't expect that in just less than half a month, a woman who loved Song Kimi to death, would suddenly choose to resign. In fact, there is nothing to be shocked about. If the other party doesn't love you anymore, it's useless to pester him. It's in vain. I don't want to change myself beyond recognition because of a love affair. I stood in front of him and nodded. Seeing that Song's mother was silent, I continued to speak. I'm not young anymore. My parents arranged a blind date for me. It's just an excuse. My parents passed away 3 years ago. My home has become a dilapidated, uninhabited cabin. Song's mother looked at me in front of her with yellowed clothes and a dusty face. She seemed to feel guilty. She sighed and took out a check from the drawer beside her. Here is 1 million. Just consider it as my intention in your dowry. I looked at the check in front of me and knew that I had no reason to refuse to say it was a dowry. But both I and the other party knew that the ultimate purpose of this money was to buy out me and Song. King Yi only needed to get this money in the next 3 years. I would have nothing to do with him anymore. I was a child from the countryside. This small mountain village was surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. It relied on a muddy road to the outside world. There was no primary school in the village. I had to go to a town more than 10 kilometers away to go to school. At that time, my family in the village was poor and could only support one of the 3 children. Among the 3 children, I was neither the eldest child who was given hope nor the youngest child who was loved. So it was natural that I became the first one to be abandoned. In the 3rd year of junior high school, the class organized an activity to write letters to the children from big city schools. With my longing and yearning for the outside world, I wrote a 2-page letter carefully. In it, I was full of my curiosity about the big city. Can the black box with 4 wheels on TV really carry people and travel thousands of miles a day? Do people in big cities not have to walk such a long mountain road to go to school? I thought there would be no response to this letter because my cousin who had been to the big city said that people in big cities have a natural sense of superiority and look down on rural people. But just 1 month after I sent it, I received a reply letter. The content of the letter was elegant and neat, and it patiently answered every question I asked. The 3 words, Song King Yi, were written on the signature. That was the first time I heard his name. Song King Yi, Song King Yi. What a nice name. I took a notebook during class and wrote his name carefully, stroke by stroke. I read the letter over and over again, and finally wrote him a letter seriously. Gradually, he and I became pen pals. I knew he was 2 years older than me, liked playing ball, liked puppies, and hated practicing calligraphy. The seasons changed, and we harvested in autumn and stored in winter. When I was about to graduate from junior high school, my family announced that they could only afford to send one child to high school. The lucky one would be chosen by drawing lots. Whoever drew the shortest number would continue to study. As the unpopular second child, I did not have the right to draw a lot. I did not dare to resist. I just cried secretly in my bed. When I was emotional, I wrote my grievances on the letter paper and mailed it to my friend far away. At that time, I had already made plans to work in an electronics factory. The teacher suddenly told me that there was a kind person who was willing to support me to finish high school. I cried with joy. I was not enlightened at that time. I really thought I was a kind-hearted person. My high school studies became busy. My correspondence with Song King Yi gradually changed from one letter a month to one letter every 2 months, or even once every 6 months. In my senior year of high school, I never received a reply to the letters I sent out. It was not until I was admitted to university and asked the teacher that I found out that the kind-hearted person who had supported me to finish high school was Song King. With beautiful dreams and aspirations in my heart, I applied for a university close to Song King Yi's home, thinking that I must repay him well. My love was stirring at a young age. During the correspondence with Song King Yi, I gradually developed a liking for him and a strong desire to explore. I wanted to know what he looked like. I imagined countless times what Song King Yi, who wrote letters to me and sponsored my schooling, would look like. He was patient and meticulous. Although he was only 2 years older than me, most of the time he showed more maturity and stability. Occasionally, he would show his childishness at this age in small matters. When I really found the address on Song King-yi's letter and found his home, I found that he was completely different from what I thought. First, Song King-yi's family is very rich, richer than the ordinary family I imagined. Second, Song King-yi lost his eyesight in an accident. The time of the accident was calculated to be my senior year in high school. He lost contact with Song King-yi. After he became blind, he began to be depressed and irritable. He often unlocked himself in his room and didn't come out. He would throw things when he got emotional. At first, his mother would visit him every day. Later, the deepest feelings slowly faded. In addition, his father had many illegitimate children outside. Seeing that Song King Yi was now in such a hopeless situation, she had the idea of giving up on him. Later, Song's mother stopped coming. The servants at home gradually became lazy. In addition, Song King-yi's temper was too strange. No one wanted to get close to him. So he was abandoned bit by bit and became a useless child. I was very angry when I knew about it. Looking at his current appearance, I was sad and angry. I started to come to Song's house every day to clean up, make soup and cook for him and persuade him to come out bit by bit. Seeing that I was very good to Song's mother, the kindness of King Yi is genuine. In addition, I just graduated from college and had little income. So I applied to be Song King Yi's nanny. Song King Yi got tired of me at first and bothered him every day. He deliberately scared me and tortured me. He tried to drive me away. I became more and more courageous. I was not scared away by him, especially on a rainy day. It was windy, rainy, and thundering outside. I was delayed on the road because of the wind and rain. I arrived at Song's house a little later than usual. Song King Yi heard the thunder alone. He instantly remembered the accident that made him blind. He curled up in the corner and shivered in fear. When I found him, his face was pale like a little animal that couldn't find its home. I hugged him and hummed the lullaby that my mother sang to my sister when she was a child. After that day, Song King Yi no longer drove me away or rejected me. Just like that, I worked hard for 3 years. Song King Yi began to regain his confidence in life. His eyes began to slowly improve. After 3 years of getting along, the two of us had a tacit understanding and were natural. In addition to the spring feelings of youth, I even began to shamelessly fantasize, thinking about our future. Song King Yi even looked at me with lifeless eyes before his eyes were about to recover. He said carefully, "Wait until my eyes are better. Can you marry me?" In his tone, there was a subtle humility and pleading, and a bit of expectation. I looked at his handsome face that no one could refuse. I couldn't help but nodded. Song King Yi happily hugged me and spun on the lawn. Later, he really proposed to me, but the object was not me. Song King Yi removed the bandage. That day, I fell asleep on the bus because I was too tired. When I woke up, I found that I had missed my stop. I took a taxi to the hospital. I saw Song King Yi holding Zhang Yushi with a happy face. He kissed Zhang Yushi's hair lovingly. Then he took out the diamond ring that he had prepared for a long time and proposed to her affectionately. "Thank you, Ixi, for your meticulous care over the past 3 years." After hearing Song King Yi's proposal, Zhang Yushi was shocked for a moment and then covered her face. Only she knew whether the expression on her face was shy, still secretly happy. I know he recognized the wrong person. I want to step forward to explain. Song's mother stopped me, moving me to go outside the ward. Outside the ward, Song's mother came straight to the point. Miss Shen, you should know that you and Song Qingyi are two completely different types of people. If it weren't for his accident, you would never know. I opened my mouth but couldn't refute it. If Song Qingyi hadn't been blind, it would have been impossible for us. Song's mother continued. Of course, I'm not someone who likes to break up others. Song Qingyi can find out by himself before marriage that you are the one, then I have nothing to say. If not, then I can only say that you are not destined to be together. After all, you know that King Yi's current situation is more suitable for marriage with a person of equal status to increase his bargaining chips. After Song's mother used both kindness and force, I had almost no room for rebuttal. I looked at Song Qingyi and Zhang Yuxi in the ward. They were like a perfect couple. I felt a little uncomfortable. But why did Song Qingyi? Could it be that the 3 years have passed? You can't tell my voice. Don't you know my name? I've told you more than once. My name is Shen Shi, the Shi of Chen Shi. Can't you remember? You can mistake anyone. Why is it him? I will never forget the first time I saw Song Qingyi. He fell to the ground in a mess. He fumbled for his sunglasses that fell on the ground. Zhang Yuxi, who was standing next to him, stepped on his sunglasses and broke them. He looked down at Song Qingyi from above. You see, Song Qingyi is just a dog lying at my feet. 当时两个人在弗洛宇白州的选项了非常的接近。之后呢 You are worthy of being my fiancé wife. Song Qingyi lost all face in front of everyone. In the end, Zhang Yuxi just acted like a spoiled child with her family, and then came to the Song family to cancel the engagement with great fanfare. At that time, Song's father had already decided to give up Song Qingyi. Song's mother looked extremely unhappy and could only swallow her anger. Have you forgotten everything? When Song Qingyanjiang's mother returned to the ward again, Zhang Yuxi had already agreed to Song Qingyi's proposal. He looked at me arrogantly. Go and peel an apple for me. You look like a winner in front of me, Siwei seemed to be saying to me. No matter how hard you try, what's the point? I was sad and angry. I almost wanted to turn around and run away. Song Qingyi suddenly looked at me. This is Song's mother. She spoke without any flaws. This is the nanny that Mom arranged for you. She is nimble and serious about her work. Since she is an Annie, my Sixie wants to eat an apple. Then you peel one for him. Song Qingyi had no doubts. There was no pressure in giving orders. It seemed that I was really just a little Manny in a Song family. I was silent for a long time. I picked up a knife from the bedside and peeled the apple bit by bit. Zhang Yuxi felt relieved when she saw this scene. She acted coquettously light towards Song Qingyi. Song Qingyi coaxed her obediently one by one. It was a look I had never seen when she was blind. I peeled an apple and handed it to Zhang Yuxi. Zhang Yuxi frowned and looked at the apple in my hand. She said with some disgust, Brother Qingyi, you let him wear gloves and peel another one. I don't want to eat anything that his dirty hands have touched. With Song Qingyi probably recognized the wrong person. He was willing to do whatever Zhang Yuxi asked for. He looked at me coldly. Didn't he say he was very skilled? How could he not do such a simple thing as peeling an apple? I nodded to hide the tears in my eyes. My voice was a little choked. Sorry, Miss Zhang, I will peel another one. But after I really put on the gloves and peeled it, the other party was petty again. Your apple peel was cut. I don't eat apples with cut apple peels. I had to pick up another one and peel it again. In the end, every time, Zhang Yu, she would refuse with all kinds of weird reasons. After peeling again and again, there were no more apples in the fruit basket. My hands were numb. Zhang Yu, she finally spoke slowly. Forget it. I don't really want to eat apples. I almost bit my teeth and swallowed them. I know why Zhang Yu, she hates himself so much. He plays tricks on himself. Because Song Qingyi. When he played tricks on Song Qingyi before, it was me who stood up again and again. Zhang Yu, she now sees that Song Qingyi's eyes have recovered. He wants to get married again. And Dai, the benefactor, really have a relationship with Song Qingyi. The person who had been together for 3 years became an obstacle for him to become Mrs. Song. After Song King Yi was discharged from the hospital, the Jung family came to discuss the marriage with Song's mother as soon as possible. It was finally scheduled for an auspicious date half a month later, and this half a month was my last chance. In fact, I didn't want to give up. But Song King-yi, you insisted on missing me. Song King-yi's brother in the box was hesitant to speak. He didn't know whether he should say it or not. Thinking of being brothers, he didn't want to lie. Finally, he said it. Aunt Tari has actually been the little nanny beside you who has taken care of you all these years. I know Song King-yi shook the red wine glass in his hand. Then why did you? Song King-yi's tone was a little careless. Have you heard a saying? The first thing a blind man does to regain his sight is to throw away his crutches. He witnessed all my depravity and unbearableness. So he can only be the crutches I threw away. When I heard the truth outside the box, I almost couldn't stand. Sadness instantly surged into my heart. The straw I finally grabbed became a knife, cutting my heart bit by bit. I was alone. I stood at the door of the box for a long time. My legs were numb from the wine. I looked at Song King-yi inside. I separated him from the Song King-yi I once admired. Maybe my Song King-yi had died in my senior year of high school. I didn't push open the door of the box. I turned around and left. I handed a resignation application to Song's mother. I didn't have much luggage at Song's house. I packed a suitcase and it was almost everything I had. I lied to Song's mother. I didn't want to go back to my hometown this time. My parents had passed away. My sisters also went to other places to work hard. I didn't know where to go. I randomly booked a train ticket to the south on my phone. I wanted to see the scenery in the south. The train arrived. Before leaving, I looked back at the city. It was the same as when I first came here. Unfortunately, my mood was completely different. Some people just met by chance. They were not destined to be together. In the end, they all had to return to the crowd. The train kept going south. I didn't know my destination, so I chose to get off wherever the train stopped. My first stop was City B. The sky is blue and the flowers are beautiful. I heal my wounded heart bit by bit and try to dig out some rotten flesh. But the more I want to forget some things, the harder it is. I look at the video sent to me. It shows Song King-yi, whom I haven't seen for a long time. Compared with Song King-yi before I left, he looks more decadent in the video. His brother, half jokingly and half persuadingly, said that the babysitter is gone. Why don't you go and apologize to Brother Song and say that it was just a joke at the beginning? Song King-yi was silent for a long time. He smiled with the corners of his mouth and said that it was not a joke. What is there to explain? Moreover, why should I apologize? He should apologize. He left without saying a word. Who do you think I Song King-yi am? He said to abandon me and abandon me. Who knows if he is playing hard to get? When his brother saw him say that he was too embarrassed to refute his meaning, he agreed with him and said that he was a babysitter. He has grown wings and will come back by himself in a few days. You see, after Brother Song went blind, he took care of Brother Song meticulously. It is obvious that he can't leave our Song King-yi. Brother Song King-yi laughed twice when he heard this. It would be better if he died outside. I would not look for him. At the end of the video, Jongyu, she ran angrily into Song King-yi's arms. After watching it, I felt like a bucket of cold water was poured on me. My body was cold and my heart was even cold, especially when I thought of Song King-yi's last words. I have loved and taken care of my lover for 3 years. I never seemed to see through him, or maybe from the beginning. This person has never shown his true face in front of me, and I am just a clown who was dumped and turned around. I know this was sent to me anonymously by Zhang Yushi. He was showing off. Showing off. Even if Song King-yi knew the truth of everything, what would happen? He would still choose him. And I am just a little nanny. I deleted the video silently. I sat quietly by the river, feeling the evening breeze. My eyes were a little sad, staring at the calm lake. I tried to forget Song King-yi, but to no avail. There was no emotion on my face, and I was twitching with sadness in my heart. I knew I couldn't do this anymore. I went down. I stood up and tried to walk around the river to relax. Suddenly, I was pulled to the shore by a strong force. Almost in an instant, I was thrown to the shore. Don't think too much. I looked at the man who was pressing on me. His black hair drooped on his white and full forehead. His deep emerald eyes were full of worry and disapproval. Are you okay? Green eyes looked at me and began to check my body. I shook my head and stood up from the ground. If you have any worries, you can tell me. Don't commit suicide. Green Eyes is a good citizen, he advised me earnestly. I was a little busy and shook my head. I didn't want to jump into the river. Green Eyes swallowed the words on his lips. Looking at the extremely young face that turned red in an instant, he stammered and started right. I'm sorry. I thought you. I saw his huge reaction. Shaked my head. Had the dust off my body. It's okay and turned to leave. Green Eyes and face flushed, twisting and taking out the phone. Did I add WeChat? I looked at him in surprise. He instantly began stuttering again. Don't get me wrong. I'm just afraid that you want to jump into the river next time. I was silent. Defend myself. I didn't want to jump into the river just now. Sorry, I was wrong. What I actually wanted to say was, I saw him hesitating. Can't say it for a long time. Innocent and awkward. I raised my eyebrows and smiled. I know you like me. Right, Green Eyes? No. No, probably teasing. Innocent boy. Seeing the other person blushing and stuttering. The original sad mood disappeared. The most we exchanged cell phones and names after that. His name is Joan Chuan. He is a student at the university. He moved out and lived nearby. He likes to run at night. It happened that he was running at night just now. He saw me standing by the river and thought I was going to jump into the river. In a moment of desperation, he threw me back to the river bank. After living in B City for a while, Jar'ia and Shuanand, I gradually became familiar with each other. From the initial jokes, I gradually realized that Zhao Chuan did have a good impression of me, but he didn't break the window paper. My friends advised me that if I wanted to forget an old rotten relationship, I should have a new and healthy relationship. But after all, I had been with Song Pingyi for 3 years, not 3 months or 3 days. I avoided Jie Jiangchuan. He could see it himself. I thought he would give up on his own. In fact, he didn't. I didn't like it. I liked the life of wandering. After living in City B for a while, I found it was not bad. It suited me, so I bought a small shop and opened a flower shop. Chuan was also about to graduate from the senior year. After knowing this, he insisted on coming to my flower shop to help. He called it part-time work. I looked at the Patek Philippe on his wrist and was silent for a long time. I didn't expose him. The peaceful days passed like this. Suddenly, a phone call broke the peace. While counting the orders in the store, I tilted my head and held the phone and said softly, "Hello, this is the Happy Flower Shop. May I ask what can I do for you? The roses are almost gone." There are also roses and crabapples. I silently wrote down these words that the stock is low, thinking that I must buy more next time. There was no reply from the other end of the phone for a long time. I patiently said hello again. "Excuse me, are you going to buy flowers?" There was only the sound of breathing on the other end. I thought the other party was just playing a prank. Just as I was about to hang up, a familiar voice that made my soul tremble rang out. "Farshi is Sang Pingyi." It's been almost 3 months since I left the Song family. I heard his voice again. My hand that was keeping accounts suddenly paused. Then my face stopped and scribbled on the account book. It was Master Song. "A big shot like you came to see me. A person who used to be a nanny in your house. What's the matter?" Song Pingyi's breath quickened when he heard it. His hoarse voice was a little disappointed. "You resigned. I heard him say that you went back to your hometown for a blind date." I replied nonchalantly, "Yes. But I went to your hometown to look for you. I didn't find you." The tone of the last sentence, "I didn't find you," seemed Song Y Iron G was extremely wrong. His tone was completely different from what I heard in the video in the box. He was arrogant and confident before. He firmly believed that I could not leave him. I loved him so much. How could I leave him? I quit my job and went back to my hometown for a blind date. In his opinion, it was just me being petty and protesting. I wanted to attract his attention. But he didn't expect that I stayed in my hometown for 3 months without going back. He was probably panicked and went to my hometown to look for me, but didn't find me. I was silent for a long time and didn't respond to him directly. If young Master Song doesn't have anything serious to do, I will hang up first. Song King was still unwilling to say a word of surrender at this time. I will get married next week. You should at least take care of me for a while in the Song family. I invite you to attend. When I heard this, my breath was choked. I think he is a bit disgusting. He invited me to his wedding. This guy is not his ex, but he is better than his ex. Wouldn't it be disgusting to attend? Suddenly, I felt that Song King was just like that. No matter how upset I was, I suddenly felt relieved. I found an excuse to make myself look less embarrassed in front of him. Not next week, he said anxiously. Why am I getting married next week to? After hanging up Song King, I let out a breath. The things that had been suppressed in my heart for a long time seemed to disappear. Ding dong, door. Yuan Chuan appeared at the door with a bouquet of roses, a white shirt against the light. My heart jumped for no reason. I thought that after leaving Song Qingyi, after experiencing this failed relationship, I would be incapable of love. In fact, I seem to have underestimated myself. You will meet many people in your life. Don't just do it for rotten people. Stop yourself from meeting someone better. Yuan Chuan as usual, thinking I won't accept his roses. But he chose to take the flowers, put them in the vase on the table with great skill. He even changed the water. I walked up and took a rose from his arms. Looked at Yuan Chuan with a smile. Yuan Chuan, let's give it a try. The flower shop was closed that day. Yuan Chuan dug me out of the bed. He was wearing a white jacket. His hair was hanging on his forehead. He looked very energetic because today was our first date after we got together. Yuan Chuan took it very seriously. He even sprayed himself with perfume. At this moment, he stared at himself in the mirror with a cocky look, kissing me. Sister, am I handsome? I covered my mouth and said vaguely, I haven't brushed my teeth yet. No, Zhou rubbed me with his mouth, the back of his hand. I want to get a satisfactory answer. Then tell me if I am handsome or not. I was pestered to no end. Nodding handsome. Yuan Chuan gave up. When we arrived at the amusement park, Yuan Chuan held my hand while reading the guide. After playing several projects, Yuan Chuan kindly let me sit on a chair and queue up to my drinks. I looked down at the map of the amusement park. A shadow suddenly appeared above my head. I raised my head with some joy. Yuan Chuan, you are back so soon. Our next project is to play this Ferris wheel. It was not Yuan Chuan. It was Song Qingyi. I hadn't seen him for a long time. I saw that he had some unshaved beard on his face. He looked a little depressed. When he saw me, joy jumped out of his eyes. The smile on my face froze. Song Qingyi was excited and wanted to hug me. I dodged at Song Qingyi. Obviously, I didn't expect that I, who always obeyed him in everything, would reject him. His eyes revealed hurt. I looked at Yuan Chuan in the distance, holding a drink and a balloon in his hand. I wanted to go to him. Song Qingyi pulled me out. He must have been preparing for a long time. He humbly begged me not to leave. I ignored him. Song Qingyi spoke to himself. I know I was wrong. I was wrong. I was confused at the time. I was not with Zhang Yushi. Can't we go back to the past? I looked at his sad eyes and remembered that I had imagined before. The scene where Song Qingyi regretted looking for me to get back together. I thought I would feel happy, feel sorry for him, and turn back because he gave in once. Obviously, I didn't have these emotions at the moment. I heard his words and felt calm inside. I even wanted to laugh a little. But thinking of the past, I still want to say something from my past self. I slowly shook off his hand holding my arm and spoke calmly. Song Qingyi, you are right. We have never been the same kind of people. Different classes, different backgrounds. You are a rich man, and I am just a grassroots person. I can't give you any help. So from the beginning, it was just my girlish heart that was at work. I fantasized about having a future with you, forcing this fate as my extravagant hope. But now, Song Qingyi, my dream is over. When Song Qingyi heard this, Despair appeared on his face. He shook his head desperately, tried to interrupt me. No, no. Yuan Xian stepped forward and held my hand. He respected me. He didn't interrupt our conversation. He still didn't sense of security. His index finger tightly grasped my hand. I squeezed his palm soothingly, smiling and saying to Song Pingyu, don't dwell on the past. We should all look forward. I took out the check I always carried with me. This is the check Song's mother gave me when I resigned. When I went to take care of you, besides wanting to repay her, I also had some selfish motives. This money was given to me by your mother. I'm giving it back to you now. I forcefully stuffed the money into his hand. Song Qingyi, I've always been very grateful for you appearing in my life, changing my fate. I still wish you all the best for the rest of your life. Happiness and joy. Then he turned around and looked at Zhe Anshuan. Hubby, let's go. Song Qingyi heard that husband. It was as if all his strength had been taken away. He could only watch me and Zhou Yuanchuan leave. After returning home, I told Zhe Chuan about the 3 years between me and Song Qingqing. I thought he would mind. He didn't get angry. He just hugged me tightly. There was a sobbing tone in his voice. I touched his head. I saw his red eyes. I was a little confused. Why are you still crying? Zhao Zhian's eyes were evasive. He was harder than a rock. Who was crying? I was just blinded by the wind. I looked at his face, trying to hide his faults. I stopped smiling. Zhou Yuangchuan saw me trying to hold back my laughter. Finally, he gave up. I just felt sorry for you for meeting such a scumbag. I was stunned when I heard it. This is the first time I have heard someone say they feel sorry for me since I was a child. Song Qingyi has never said that. Neither have my family. After all, I was born in a family where it is difficult to survive. Love and other emotional values are simply luxuries. My eyes were hot. Zhu Yuan Chuan in front of me was in a panic. He took a tissue to wipe my tears. Why are you crying too? Did I say something wrong? I'm sorry. I saw him in a panic. It was so funny. I laughed out loud. Yuan Chuan saw me laughing. He also touched his head and laughed foolishly. Finally, I lay on the bed. I leaned on his arms. Su usually fell asleep with his eyes closed, was insomniac at this moment. I leaned on his arms. I was awakened by his irregular breathing and heartbeat. I opened my eyes and asked him what was wrong. He looked at me with his puppy eyes. You called me husband today, so should we meet the parents first? His face was a little red and his eyes were brighter. I looked at him like this. When it comes to my lips, you have to arrange it. Zhu Anchuan's family is harmonious. Both parents are very nice. The first meeting was very pleasant. We set the wedding date right away. On the wedding day, I was dug out of bed at 5 o'clock. I put on makeup and put on a wedding dress. I looked at my beautiful face in the mirror and felt a little dazed. Song Qing's brother called me halfway. The other party sounded anxious. Shen Shui, where are you? Can you come to Shen's house? Song Qing is in a bad condition now. I was silent. I wanted to hang up his phone. The other party obviously realized that I didn't want to listen anymore. He began to persuade me with reason and emotion. Do you know that when he went to college, his family cut off his living expenses? In order to earn tuition for you, he worked odd jobs while programming in the cold winter. This is all for you. I always thought that Song King's family was rich. The money he used to support me to go to college all came from my family. So there is this situation. Song Qing's brother saw that I didn't say anything and didn't hang up the phone, knowing that it worked. He continued to think about how good Song Qingyi was in the past. Yes, Song Qingyi was really good to me at the beginning, but why did he become like that later? Maybe people will change. The auspicious time is coming. Zhe stood at the door in grim suit. I don't want to get entangled anymore. The past is the past. I spoke softly. Song Qingyi is not in good condition. You shouldn't look for me. You should look for the hospital or the police. I have nothing to do with him anymore. Please don't bother me anymore. Thank you. After saying that, I hung up the phone. Blocked him casually. After being added to the blacklist. Turn off the phone. Welcome to the important day of your life.